Let's go now to the number 2 Democrat in the Senate, Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois. He's also a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator Durbin, let's start with Russia. What do you make of President Trump's comments about Vladimir Putin and U.S. intelligence agencies?
Incredible to me. We had a hearing in the Senate Judiciary Committee. We produced a Facebook ad that had a phony committee. It was blasting Hillary Clinton, and it was paid for with rubles from Russia. What is the president waiting to see before he acknowledges what our intelligence agencies and most people in both political parties acknowledge? There was a definite attempt by Russia to influence this election.
According to the Nonpartisan Tax Policy Center, 76% of Americans would get a tax cut next year under the Republican plan, with middle-class families receiving on average a cut of about $800. Democrats, however, keep pushing the notion that the average middle-class family is going to see a tax increase. The Washington Post fact-checker gave that claim 4 Pinocchios. I'll say to you what I just said to Secretary Mnuchin. Shouldn't people be honest when debating this issue?
Well, absolutely. And let's be honest in this. We know that the wealthiest Americans are going to get a definite long-term permanent tax cut. Under both plans, the House and Senate, the estate tax, an alternative minimum tax, and the taxes that affect the wealthiest people will be permanently reduced. When it comes to working families, it's a mixed bag. In my state of Illinois, it's going to be devastating that they cannot deduct their state and local and property taxes that they pay. They'll be paying a tax on a tax. This is not a tax break for them, and it violates a basic. And let me tell you, there's a reason why this plan has been prepared in secret, why it's not being scored by the Congressional Budget Office as it is traditionally. It's because it doesn't add up. The only way the Republicans can make it add up is by cutting Medicare by $473 billion and Medicaid by $1 trillion. That, to me, is not the way to deal with this economy and to build real growth.
You're the Senate Democratic whip. Your job is to count the votes. Do you have commitments from everyone who caucuses with the Democratic Party that they will oppose the Republican plan? And have you heard from any Republicans who might join you?
Jake, we just saw this plan on Friday. They just unveiled this plan in the Senate. So members of the Senate have heard some rumors, have seen the House bill, but I can tell you each one of them comes to it and says, why would we want to risk our economy raising the taxes on many working families to give a permanent tax cut to the wealthiest people in America and to run up the national debt? That is not a sound policy to build America's economy.
There's been a lot of talk about Judge Roy Moore. If he does get elected, should the U.S. Senate refuse to seat him?
Well, I tell you, that's several steps removed from where we are today. President Trump is the leader of the Republican Party in America. It's his responsibility to step forward and say more and do more when it comes to this situation in Alabama. Many of my Republican colleagues, whom I respect, they have strong family ties and feel very, very passionately about this, have spoken out on it, and I respect them for doing it. It's time for the president to do the same.
If your colleague, Senator Bob Menendez, New Jersey Democrat, is convicted on the corruption charges, he's on trial right now, the jury is still deliberating, will you vote to expel him?
I'm not going to get into the hypotheticals on either of these situations. As I said, several steps removed. I'm hopeful that when all is said and done, that Bob Menendez will be returning to the Senate representing the state of New Jersey.
Senator Dick Durbin of the great state of Illinois, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake.